Even as a brand new web developer, if you're not careful about what sorts of things you take on, your career is going to sort of grow on its own and possibly go in directions that you didn't really want it to go. Hey, this is Devin, and today I'm here to tell you how your web development career is kind of like a bonsai tree. Don't worry, I will explain that right after this intro. A lot of you probably own trees, but not a lot of you have probably shaped trees. You can shape trees by pruning them, and I'll explain why that works and how that works in just a minute. But before you even get there, not a lot of people want to prune trees because it can be really hard. Then you have bonsai trees, which are tiny little trees that you can grow in a pot in your house. Those are easy to prune. You don't have to climb anything. You don't have to get these big things to prune them. I don't know what they're called, but they're big. If you leave the bonsai tree alone, it will try to grow up tall because trees want to get up above the shade of other trees so they can soak up more of the sunlight. If that's what you want out of your tree, great, just leave it alone. It'll do that on its own. But if you have something specific in mind for your tree, you probably need to step in and influence the way it grows. You can do this by pruning it. Pruning is just the process of cutting off some parts of the tree that you don't want and leaving the others intact. Also, just to be clear, I really don't know anything about bonsai trees or pruning, so any bonsai enthusiasts out there watching, please, feel free to correct me in the comments, but also give me a little bit of a break here. I'm kind of going out on a limb here. Oh, I did that one on accident. Okay.
Wait, really?
All right. Anyway, back to my bonsai story. You can trim the tree, and this does a couple of things. One, it frees up the resources the tree was using to grow those parts of the tree, and those can be used then to grow the parts of the tree you want to be there. And two, it just eliminates the parts of the tree you don't want there. Pretty straightforward. Now, you may not think this relates at all to your career. You may think you have total control, but if you take a step back and really just look at things objectively, I think you'll be surprised how much your career and other aspects of your life, but for the purposes of this discussion, your career sort of takes off on its own and goes wherever it will go. And not all those directions are the directions you want it to go. I think the biggest part of my success today comes from pruning the opportunities I had. It's really easy when you're just getting started as a web developer to want to take on everything, especially when you're getting your first gig or your first job. You haven't had anything, so you're starving for anything. So now you get that first thing. That's great. Maybe it wasn't ideal, but after that, your brain may keep telling you, oh no, I've got to take everything because I don't know when I'm going to be struggling to find anything again. And that is when your career can sort of choose its own trajectory and just go wherever it naturally goes. And when we're talking about your career, that means other people are steering you where they want you to go. These are people who want to hire you for low rates or work you lots and lots of hours, work you on weekends, put you on call. All these sorts of things that people don't really want for the most part. If you want to have that control and be sort of, I guess, like an auteur of your career, you need to start at the very beginning, before you've had any jobs, and make sure that you are only taking the things that will get you closer to where you want to go. And make sure that all those branches that are going off in different directions that are not interesting to you, that are not going to get you to the endpoint you're trying to get to, make sure that those get pruned to give you the resources to feed the rest of them and get everything growing in the right direction. I'm sure I've told the story before. When I first got started, straight out of boot camp, I started applying for jobs. Nobody wanted to hire me, so I started doing freelance work. Well, a few months into that, someone did come back around, one of the companies I had applied for previously, and they made me a job offer. This job offer was pretty good as far as I could tell. It was like 50% more than I'd been making at my previous job, which was not a web developer role at all. But there were a lot of things about it that I didn't really like. The pay wasn't, even though it was good, it wasn't great. I knew I was going to have to give up the autonomy that I had as a freelancer, and that didn't feel great. Also, the technology stack they were using was really dated. They were using, I think, Cold Fusion. I just got this offer, and I knew it wasn't the direction I wanted to go. Even though I was struggling to get what I could in terms of freelance gigs, and I wasn't making as much as they were offering, I turned it down because I knew, even though maybe it was the responsible thing to do, or whatever that means, I knew it wasn't taking me in the direction that I ultimately wanted to go. By being kind of stubborn and obstinate, I was able to hold out and get what I really wanted. And even in the times between that offer and when I really kind of felt like I had made it, again, whatever that means, I had a lot of things that were really important to me. I had autonomy. I could pick my own work. I could work on it when I wanted to. I could work at the rates that I set. I really had a lot of things going for me, and it felt good. It felt like I was going in the right direction. Keep this in mind as you're starting to come upon opportunities in your early days of your web development career. Think about which ones are actually going to move you closer to your ultimate goals and which ones are just a diversion, or maybe even a direction you definitely don't want to go. Make sure you take a step back from time to time to look at what's happening and to prune those parts of your career that aren't growing out in the direction you'd like them to. Thanks everybody for watching. I'm going to leave now. That's 2 puns in one video. It's a new record. I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, stop it. Stop it.